and do something that I really wanted to do. He was bringing together the families of those who had died in a theater in Rockefeller Center. They had a theater. They had about 300 family members of people who died, who were working through their grief, and they were going to do it on television. He asked me if I'd come and spend an hour, and it was something that I thought about a lot because I knew it was going to be hard. I mean, emotionally hard, but I also thought it was real important to do. For me, in particular, I needed to do it, to sit there with these people on risers above me, in the round, alone, me alone on the floor, taking their questions about what happened and helping them understand a little more about Islam, a little more about the region, a little more about maybe what went wrong and how it happened. And first question I got was, how do you justify what they did? And I said, there's no justification. It is an absolute abomination what occurred. It was wanton murder. And it killed in a very racist way Americans who just happened to be Americans in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it was an outrage. No justification is possible. Next question. 2 questions later, some guy gets up and he says, how come you and your people, every time you say something about this, you have to say but? It's wrong, but. Why do you keep saying but? I said, sir, there's no but. There's no but. 2 questions later, I got the same thing again. Finally, Brokaw said, why do you think, what's accounting for this? And I said, I could use the New Testament line of, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. You've got to want to hear somebody say something to believe it. I would counter what you say and say that I know of no Arab American and no Muslim American organization that has not condemned terrorism and that has not roundly condemned it in every way, shape, and form possible to do so. I don't know of any that haven't. I know a couple that were slow to do it because they were kind of embarrassed and troubled and didn't know how to come forward and do it in the way that needed to be done the right way. I know of no group that has not condemned it. And I think that we have to want to know that they've condemned it in order to hear them when they do it. But I frankly can't tell you how many times I've heard it said they haven't done it, but how many times the groups have in fact done it, but people have to want to hear them say it. And if they don't want to hear them say it, no matter how many times I say it, it's like the guy who's tells his wife multiple times, I love you, honey, I love you, honey, I love you, honey, and she says, you never tell me you love me. I mean, he does. She's just not hearing it, or doesn't want to hear it, or I'm sorry to say that, but I want you to know that the groups they're working with law enforcement every day. In the meetings that they have with the FBI on a national level, local level, they're Americans. They're concerned about fighting terrorism. They want to stop it. They know it's an evil. They also know that terrorism happens in multiple places in the world in multiple ways. And it does. And it's not just one group that's guilty of terrorism. Many groups are. But they have been willing and eager to step up to the plate and deal with this. And I commend, I would recommend to you many sources that I could give you afterwards that would make it clear to you the degree to which they have done that. Okay, thank you. Well, frankly, you want to give me the $80,000 to do the full-page ad in the New York Times? I'll do the full-page ad. We don't have that kind of budget to do this sort of thing, and I'm not sure I would find it edifying to do so. You want me to? It's cheaper for me to strip myself down to my undershorts and stand in the city square and do it, and I might do that if pressed hard enough to do so. But I think we've made it about as clear as we possibly could. I'm not sure that one needs to do it in simply the way that somebody wants it done. But you give me the money, I'll do the ad.
Mr. Zogby, coming back to the question of Iran, the president of Iran, the president, the leading figure in the country, time after time has pledged to wipe out Israel, very categorically, no doubt about it at all. Under those circumstances, what do you think our policy in this country should be regarding Iran?
Well, number one, let me start by saying the president of Iran is a problematic character for us, for Israel, for the Arab world. He is, and for his own people. He is. He was elected on the basis that he was going to improve the economy and turn the situation around, and he did not. And one of the ways he compensates for not turning it around is by trumping up his rhetoric in an effort to distract attention from the failure of his administration. We poll in Iran. We polled for Reader's Digest a couple of times in Iran, and that's what we find. And he plays off of Iranian fear, the fear of the Iranian people, and their sense of being under siege by creating he'll create a crisis, get threatened, and then use the threat against Iran as a way of saying to his own people, you got to support me. Look at what we're facing, even though he created the problem in the first place. I understand it. I understand exactly what you're saying. He is a bad character, but he's bad not only for us and for our allies, but he's bad for his own people. Now, he is being challenged at home. I believe, and have long believed, that if we were to engage Iran, we remove the ability that he has to play that game and expose him as the failure that he is. But he came to Columbia University, and the situation that developed there played right into his hands. He was the hero when he went home. I mean, the point is that you cannot continue to do this and then wonder, gee, why is he still around? He's still around because he's playing off our stupidity. And he threatens Israel, and Israel says, I'll tell you, it works for Israel when he does, because what it does to Israel is it says, oh great, we got this moron threatening us, and he can't do anything about it even if he did threaten us, because you know, one of those missiles that they've got, those things are so primitive that he'll probably take out half the West Bank when he bombed Israel. And if he used a nuclear device, he would for sure take out the West Bank. I mean, you know, we're talking insanity here. Even if you nuke Iran, guess who dies? Everybody in the neighborhood dies. I mean, there's no such thing as a strategic strike with nuclear weapons. Most of the Palestinians in the West Bank will go. Lebanon will go. People in Syria will die. People in Jordan will suffer from radioactive poisoning. The fact is that there is no use of nuclear weapons in that region. It just simply can't happen or won't happen. But he will make that threat, even though he can't deliver on it. It makes Israel say, we've got to rally the flag. It strengthens their weakened leadership. They threaten him back, saying, we're going to attack. Oil prices go up 8%. And Ahmadinejad goes to his people and says, look, they're threatening me. They're threatening me. And he gets strengthened at home. So we've got this bizarre ritual going on where both sides are threatening and strengthening each other in a rather perverse way. The point is to unwind it. And the way you unwind it is you engage. You don't engage on the basis of, gee, you're a good guy and I really want to help you out. You engage on the fact that this can't work. We will economically continue to push you into a corner. There are consequences to your behavior, and there are also possible benefits to your behavior if you change your behavior. Put him on the carpet and call his bluff. We have not ever done that. That's the key to changing this situation, is changing the direction in how we behave, rather than simply contribute to the threats that simply make him stronger at home. Thank you all very much.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland Forum, we have been listening to Dr. James Zogby, founder and president of the Arab American Institute. Thank you, Dr. Zogby. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The forum is now adjourned.
For information on upcoming speakers or for podcasts of the City Club, go to cityclub.org.